You are looking here at a design for a native formal garden in the sort of Tuscan style. So a whole series of Mediterranean plants that are suitable for the Australian environment are incorporated into the plant list. If I zoom in on the plant list area here, and if I click on an individual species that's in the list, you can see that the list has been drawn in a sense manually. It's been constructed one symbol at a time, and the common names have been put in and the count. So it's a very tedious operation to go through your area on the left and count the number of species, and there's lots of scope for error. And one little error here you see is that somehow a symbol for the glory vine has been sprinkled within that list, within that plant schedule. So we'd like to demonstrate that using gCADPlus and draw a plant schedule gives you a much better result. And what I'm going to do now is I'll draw a custom content schedule. And if we look down at the bottom of the screen, I can draw this schedule using answering the prompts here. So do I want to include the plant symbol? Yes, I do. Do I want to include red circle markers? No. Do I want to include the type from the gCADPlus plant database? Do I want to lift the type? In other words, is it a tall tree or a shrub or a ground cover? We'll say yes. And do I want to include a code? Well, in this case, the design, each individual plant symbol doesn't have a code associated with it, although once you do set up these plant schedule tools, you can add that automatically, but I'll leave it for now. I don't need to include the pot size. Do I want the botanic name? Yes, I do. Do I want the common name? Yes, I do. Do I want to print the common name directly under the botanical name in this table? Well, no, I don't, because I would prefer a narrower table than a wider one, because I've got to fit that on the layout sheet. So we'll say no to that. Now I've just done a dry run, a text height of 100. I noticed the existing height in here. The height of that text was 85. So 100, I'll make it just a little bit bigger. And we'll zoom out a little, and I've actually done it over here. And here's the result. We have the code and coastal woolly bush without the type, because that's done with the standard technique. And here the plant schedule's been drawn in the way that we've shown. So I'll demonstrate it, and it should reproduce this one here. So we'll start about that point, and we'll come down to around here, and magically the original one is removed and this new one pops up. So I'll just pause for a moment, and then we'll go to the final layout. What I have done, just to help us, is I've put everything in the hand-drawn plant list on a layer called Hide the Plant List. So let's hide that layer now. So everything from the hand-drawn one is gone. What I want to demonstrate here is that I can put that schedule on the final layout. You can see it's missing at the moment. And all I need to do, I'll delete it for the moment, is let's zoom extents here. And we need to click down here on that tab, and we need to add a viewport to this layout. And we need it to fit somewhere in here. And now I need to zoom in on that new schedule that we've just drawn. Just double click in there, and I'll position our magenta box over it and zoom in, and I'll come in as tight as I can and display that on the layout. We'll put it in the position that our previous drafter had, and you can see that we are overlapping things just a little. So what I need to do is to redraw the plant schedule, narrowing the table just a little. So I come back here and we're going to redraw this table. It's a pretty simple thing to do. Run the custom content. We have all the answers, they're all stored, so I can just click, looking down here now, and just hit the enter key. I think I'll change the text font and I'll put it back at 85, which the original one was, and I'll put our corner point there, and we'll just come down and narrow things. I don't think I'll need to narrow too much. And there we are. Hopefully when I come back here, now we're getting awfully close to fitting that in. In fact, what I can do to give us plenty of room is put, this is a viewport. It is actually it should be a fixed scale. It's not, but I'll fix it, and then we'll give it a color 255. So we won't see the floating viewport again, and I can do the same to this new viewport that I've added and give it that same color. Don't pick foreground, because that will change according to your view settings, but just make it white, and we'll then zoom extents. I can possibly fiddle a little more, and this is where time gets away from you as you struggle to get things exactly right. But if we now zoom in, we now have all the information that we wanted from the original one. We've got the count of plants and we've got the detail of their type, all done in not quite a twinkling of an eye, but we've saved a lot of time. So I hope that covers generating plant schedules using the gCADPlus automated system. This is still a table. Let me go back to model. I notice in the design, if we just zoom in here, that the red maple was there. We could just edit that piece of text and just call it existing. Oops, if we could spell it, it would be better. So you can easily update things. Now if I close that editor and we go back in here, then it's already updated. It is possible to pick a layout sheet. We can move things across just a bit to give us a little more room, and we might want to dive in. So I'll just center things now. We'll display that on the layout. I was just trying to eliminate that white border, and there we are. Zoom extents. You can still, of course, put a frame around it just by drawing a rectangle, say from here down to the bottom right corner. Pick it, give it a line weight. This is an A1 sheet, so we'll make it a line weight of 0.4 millimeter, and we could give the corner radius, let's make it 20 millimeter to make it obvious, and we'll unselect all. And line weights are on. If we zoom in here now, you can see we're getting a thicker line. So quite a versatile solution to our problem, I think, and one that will save a lot of time.